Hey guys, welcome back to Film Sci. All those with a faint heart look away. Dr. Pimple Popper has a very strong heart, but even she flinched and tired when faced with the mountain of work that was needed to put into these procedures and rectify her miscalculations during these operations. Here are 5 times Dr. Pimple Popper Extractions went wrong. Number 5, Delano. Delano came back to Dr. Lee twice. He had certain mutilations on his back that needed removal, and Dr. Lee was kind enough to oblige. It looked like a pretty messy procedure, however, and the results were not as ideal. He came to her for a very large and unsettling lump removal on his back. The lump seemed incredibly intimidating and like it had a life of its own. It seemed to exist and breathe in its state. The good doctor was kind enough to treat him. The resulting surgery, which was broadcasted, was a very nasty surgery indeed. It was an incredibly difficult ordeal to witness as the good doctor, Dr. Lee, went on to remove the lump. It was about the size of a basketball. However, everything did not go according to plan for poor old Delano as he returned for the removal of the same lump, which had regrown on his back and was looking considerably worse than before. Delano's back had not fully healed yet either, and he was looking much worse than before. She was kind enough to have him linked up to the dermatologists who were willing to remove the lump again, properly this time for free. If she had not done that, it was likely that Delano would sue the good doctor and the network. Number 4, Brandon. Dr. Lee has had a love-hate, mostly hate, relationship with Sis over her esteemed career as a dermatologist. Her displeasure was never more apparent than in this particular extraction. It was by far the worst one for her and her team. Brandon, a young man, showed up at her office with several cysts on his head. Dr. Lee was probing around them to check the nature of the cysts and getting a proper diagnosis. However, things went very wrong. Major stress in the word very. During the actual operation, as the extraction was going on, it seemed like Dr. Lee had miscalculated the severity of some of the cysts, making each of them to be the same category in nature. She found this miscalculation too late though, much later than everyone would have wanted. As she pressed for the removal of the cysts, they exploded, showering her with goop, alongside the camera crew and her assistants as well. It was very messy. Number 3, Mary. This was a particularly nasty case. Mary showed up to the good doctor with one leg larger than the other. She was diagnosed with several diseases and was told that it would take a long and painstaking time to have her fixed up. Much to Mary's dismay, it would take some time to recover the operations. The only good news at the time was that the condition was not life-threatening. Number 2, popped cyst. This one was a particularly gross routine due to the excessive nature of filth that had to be dealt with during the operation. This particular person came to Dr. Lee already having aggravated his injury by attempting to treat it himself. He tried to pop a cyst forming on the back of his neck, and of course it went wrong. So wrong that it created a growth on the back of his neck, and a very horrible growth it looked. During the time where Dr. Lee was trying to examine it, it oozed a very disgusting shade of yellow ooze. It was particularly disgusting as it kept on oozing and did not stop coming out. Seconds turned into minutes, and minutes were on the verge of becoming hours, and the slime would not stop coming out. Containers were about to overflow when it finally stopped coming out. It was an exhausting procedure, and the look on everyone's faces showed how they'd done this for a particular cyst. It seemed to be the king of all cysts, as no cyst has taken so long to remove, and no cyst has ever been so nasty. Number 1, tick growth. This was a relatively easy case, an open and shut case of removing a cyst from a patient's neck. Easy does it, no need to overwork anything. How things turned out, however, is a very different story. What seemed like an everyday situation turned out to be an instance of life and death. As a good doctor was operating on the patient, she noticed that the cyst was growing redder and redder. This is not uncommon, but the fact that the patient had shown up with a cyst that was already red from the beginning, and as the cyst was opened, the redness was found to be coming from the inside. With the wound being very red on the inside, the wound also seemed to be moving. Dr. Lee was quite unsure what was going on until she grabbed a different tool and began examining the wound itself. Sure enough, the run-of-the-mill nasty ooze was still coming out, but there was something else inside as well that the doctor couldn't get a hold of. As the ooze dried up, the doctor got a hold of the nightmare that was escaping her grasp and was wrecking the life of a patient. When it came out, everyone's jaws dropped to the floor. It was a living, breathing tick. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. So long.